All right, cool. What's up, everyone? Episode number 26 of my Hybrid Athlete podcast. Um, Here is a good day. Here's a good time for me to dig into everything that I've been doing over the summer and now getting into the fall. And this is going to be kind of a 10 to 15-minute video of me kind of speaking to I feel like what I've accomplished over the last couple of months, which I think has been a pretty good session, pretty good time frame for me. So, digging into the weight I've put on. So I basically weigh, and if you check kind of my shorts and stuff and my reels and everything, I put on basically 20 pounds now since my marathon, 3 4 months ago. That'd be May through September. So yeah, I feel good. I mean, I got on the scale this morning at 198, and that's basically no clothes on, fasted, at post cardio, post workout before I have really any nutrition for the day. So that's a good sign. Everything's on point. I feel pretty lean. Obviously, when you put on weight quickly, it's not that quick, but it's still relatively quick. I mean, anytime you put on 20 pounds in less than a year, you're probably not. It's not all going to be muscle, but I've done it in 4 months, so relatively quick pace. But I feel like at least half of it was muscle. When you look into it, kind of when you're realistic with yourself, um, you know, some body fat. I don't have a six pack. I'm not really close to having a six pack. But again, if I do a healthy cut, like a real good, cut in end of the year around Christmas, which is my plan, I can get to like a lean sliced and diced like 195, maybe down all the way down to 190 again, just to get really, really lean. But yeah, I think I'm on a good path to basically get some, make some progress to where the muscle that I'm putting on sticks. Anyone that does endurance and also tries to lift weights kind of knows it's hard to kind of manage both sometimes, and it can be pretty, you know, deteriorating and pretty gruesome and just pretty brutal just to try to keep going month over month, year over year, really getting into like, okay, here's a training session for an Ironman or a marathon, and then you want to go hit squats, deadlifts, bench press at the gym, all these compound movements. It takes its toll on you. I'm really kind of in a nice spot, mentally, with my job, with my work, with my life outside of the gym, to where I can really just dig into, the gym when I have that time, that hour, and if you really work out hard, it doesn't take more than 80 to 90 minutes to get a really good workout. So sometimes even less. My most intense leg workouts literally last 50 minutes to an hour, but they are the most gruesome workouts of my week a lot of times. So bottom line, I'm balanced. I'm on point. I really feel good about how this year's gone. I want to speak today about the 20-pound weight gain overall, how quickly it's gone, when there were phases where I was maybe stuck or just kind of like, pushing through, or where, there were times where I felt like I was getting too chubby, too fat. That really never happened, but there were times where I was just kind of noticing, hey man, I got, a little bit more body weight here. I feel a little bit, not really bloated, but you definitely feel bigger overall and heavier. Not in an unhealthy way, but definitely kind of tracking that. And then speaking to anyone who does want to do a lean bulk, I'm basically a ectomorph by nature. So basically meaning that I'm a hard gainer for the most part. Like if I want to keep this body weight, I need to keep eating substantially. And if I want to push past 200 pounds and get to like the 205 to 210 range, definitely got to level up again. But bottom line, yeah, month over month, it's gone smoothly. I look at it basically, I take my body weight the same time of day, the same day of the week, every Sunday. So, Saturday. So this Saturday morning was when basically I think I made a post to on one of my social media accounts, but 198 waking up. So, if I do the next Saturday, I put on a pound, maybe half a pound, close to a pound. That's been kind of the pace. Sometimes it's hardly any weight gain over the course of a week, but for the most part, if I'm consistent with, less cardio, still doing high intensity hit training, still lifting, 5 6 days a week lifting weights. 5 days are definitely like hard, intense weightlifting sessions. And the other one's more of like a kind of instinctual, half recovery, half missing body parts, quads, shoulders, triceps, whatever, kind of target one or two smaller body parts, and then just go from there. But yeah, bottom line, weight gain was good. It was substantial. I feel like it's solid. It's a solid weight gain, meaning like I'm not overweight. You can look at kind of the shorts that I post. I mean, I'm a little bit, thicker in the midsection, but obviously nothing where it's like, hey, this guy's getting too fat, like he should slow down the bulk, because my bulk is clean. Like I said, I think that's the biggest thing is when you eat more food, keep it more quality food, and mess with your macros, like if you're basically strictly paleo type Mediterranean type diet to where it's carbs and proteins primarily, throw in extra fats, but do it in a controlled manner. Don't eat a whole, goddamn pizza or something for a cheat meal. Instead, go like, okay, maybe I'm going to add half an avocado to this meal, or maybe I'm going to add egg yolks as opposed to just egg whites in breakfast, something like that. So the way that I do it is very systematic. It's very incremental, 300 to 400 calories a day. And basically less cardio will really yield you some pretty good results where you feel healthy. You feel like it's under control. And I've never had to dial back, meaning like I kind of eat when I want to eat and what I want to eat for the most part, because what I want to eat is basically what I've been eating for a long time. Pretty much vegetables, spinach, leaner proteins, ground meats like ground turkey, ground beef, sirloin steak, sometimes chuck roll steak if it's higher fat, avocados if I need more fat. Olive oil is basically my cooking tool. So yeah, pretty much nothing really came up as a surprise for me. It was just kind of like staying consistent with the timing of eating. Usually I eat at the same time. I usually train at the same time. Monday's early training day, Saturday's earlier training, Tuesday can be earlier training, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I train in the afternoon. So I get plenty of caffeine in the morning. I eat my first meal at around 9:30, maybe as late as 10 o'clock. So that's basically going from 7 p.m. to 10, like 15 hours, pretty much intermittent fasting, where all I have is water and coffee. So, you can still bulk on an intermittent fasting diet, and you can still put on good solid weight by only eating, 3 times a day, 2 or 3 times a day, legitimate meals. I would say though that if you're just a beginner and you want to get big, I would say focus on eating as much as you can all the time. I'm more advanced, so basically I have more mature muscle to where the smallest I've ever really been over the last 4 or 5 years has been 180 pounds for a 6'1" body frame. But now that I'm getting into a zone where I consider being 195 now amateur, like, okay, that's the lightest I want to be. I'm basically leveling up, and those channels are basically increasing for me to where my new base, like my new skinny, is going to be 195. Never experienced that before, but I'm looking forward to having that in 2025. So in that same thread, like I really established like a base caloric intake and a base timing of meals to where I know, hey, if I just continue on this path and still train hard and do the amount of cardio and the amount of weight sessions that I'm doing, what's my body weight going to look like? Is it going to fluctuate? And are my energy levels going to be affected? So for basically managing all that, I encourage anyone who's really getting into fitness to basically set that base and establish that and say, okay, if it's 3,500 calories, if it's you mix it, put it all in together into the same boat, the same bucket. It's your personal identity with fitness. It might be, okay, I need to consume 3,500 calories, only do, 80 to 90 minutes of cardio per week, and then keep with my 5 weightlifting sessions that I'm doing. For someone who's, geared towards maybe has better genetics, they can say, okay, I can still do, 150 minutes of cardio. I can still eat 4,000 calories or something. And, or maybe stay at 3,500 calories and really not lose weight, even though I'm doing a little bit more cardio. And then just, dial in on your muscle building. Obviously, when you have that protein synthesis occurring, and when you're in that recovery phase, you want basically the signal of your body to go to repair muscle and build muscle and maintain muscle. That's where the metabolism kicks in. That's where the messaging to your body from longer state cardio really contradicts the muscle building phase and the anabolic process that happens with muscle building. So I would say stationary bike, brisk walking, incline walking, avoid running long distances and longer time if you're really focused on putting on muscle. The cardio can be, for fun, it can be different things. It can be the Stairmaster. It can be even boxing, jump rope, things like that. Interval sessions can really be good for cardio to get your heart rate up into zone 3, zone 4. And then do like an active recovery after that. So say, for example, you do some boxing, you can get on the treadmill and do an incline walk, or you can do maybe some assault bike sessions followed by, brisk walking or something that's lighter, just a stationary bike, like a smooth, low intensity stationary bike for 15 to 20 minutes. But overall, I think your calorie burn and kind of supplementing the activity of weightlifting is really where I'm at with my fitness. So when I talk about building that base and establishing, kind of what you're going to do consistently, and then build your diet off of that, build your more intense weightlifting sessions off of that. I would say when you're focused on weightlifting and building muscle and getting bigger, I would say that base needs to be diet and cardio. Like, what are those going to be kind of consistent at? And then you can kind of measure those and then track where your strength's at, track where your energy levels are at. And I think I've used this example before. If you're maybe going into Monday, and Monday's usually like a larger muscle group, and then you say, "Hey, I feel like I have great energy on Monday, but I think I need to figure out exactly how much food I'm consuming between Monday and Wednesday because once I get to Wednesday, I really feel like I have less energy and I need to, tackle legs better, or I need to, get a better workout on Wednesday just because my diet's maybe missing something. Maybe there's a gap, maybe your caffeine intake, nutrition, micronutrition, something's going off to where you need to track that and be aware of it and say, hey, maybe if I introduce, an extra source of carbs or an extra nutritional element on Tuesday through Wednesday, I'll notice a difference. That can be in terms of total caloric intake, because a lot of times you're not really aware of all your habits until you're basically cognitively starting to track them. For me, like I'm pretty consistent with total caloric intake. But one thing I noticed that I've adjusted in is on Friday, I'm starting to eat more food and I'm starting to take in basically more water because I've noticed that because Saturday is my sixth day of the week and working out. So I've noticed that I wake up not necessarily sore, but not necessarily like, hey, I'm ready to do another high intense workout. So I have increased caloric intake on Friday. And then I've also increased my caffeine intake right on Saturday morning when I get up, and I wake up earlier so that I give my body an extra 30 to 45 minutes to wake up. And then I also basically have the opportunity to kind of use that glycogen storage of the carbs I was eating on Friday to really push through the difficult workout to where maybe my energy level overall, just from total volume and intensity of the whole week, maybe isn't as high, but I'm doing a better job mentally of saying, hey, let me do what I can to prepare water, sleep, nutrition, sodium, electrolytes, everything. So that when I hit kind of that, that potential block on Saturday mid workout, I can push through that last half hour to 45 minutes and really finish the week strong. So that's kind of an example of really being in tune with like where your base is at, like where your weak points are in the week, because we are creatures of habit. And a lot of guys that are, basically tracking their fitness and more advanced, they kind of know like week over week, okay, here's my split. Here's what I'm doing for cardio. Here's what I'm doing for weightlifting. Here's where my lift was 10 pounds better. That's great. Here's where I haven't made progress in 3 to 4 weeks. So kind of alternating your splits and stuff is maybe another subject we can get into on the next episode. But I think this was a good episode to really kind of speak to, the progress that I've made, kind of what I'm noticing in terms of like my overall growth and my base, which I've established. And just to give you the hard numbers for me, I think that concept is important. My hard numbers are basically 4,500 calories nearly just to maintain because I do pretty intense workouts. But really, I'm noticing like my overall shape and fullness has really improved. Definitely since June, July, when I really got into the bulk early for the first kind of time in the last 3 or 4 years, where I wasn't dedicated to 2 endurance races minimum like every year. So this is new territory for me, but my base is pretty well established. And really, once I get into like a series of bulk cuts and my body weight goes up, that's going to be where you kind of get into the ranges of, wow, you're taking in at least 5,000 calories a day. You're really pushing healthy food. Like eating 5,000 calories of healthy food is not easy to do. But again, I built really good base habits to where I know, okay, this is how much water I'm taking in. Pretty much a gallon of water a day. I stick to that. 800 to 900 milligrams of caffeine, and I kind of like cycle that caffeine intake around a workout. So I might even mix like an energy drink 2 hours before a workout with a pre-workout 30 to 45 minutes before a workout. You're looking at 600 milligrams of caffeine in a 2-hour window. Obviously, it's not optimally healthy, but unless you really, because we build a tolerance to caffeine, but unless it's disrupting your sleep, I would encourage caffeine intake to be early in the day and then right before a workout. It's almost like your protein intake. It's almost like you want to consume high protein within that anabolic window, 2 to 3 hours, experts say. I'd say caffeine intake is like, again, like there's a window before the workout, and maybe like if you have to work or you really need to do something else that's important and you don't want your fatigue from exercise to inhibit that or have a negative effect, do it then. But obviously you don't want to drink a bunch of caffeine later in the day, or if it's ever going to affect your sleep, don't do that. I'd say the timing on everything is really important too, with like food and nutrition and sodium and water as well, and caffeine. So I guess, maybe that's another topic that I can say for another call, but this one was basically just to kind of tell you guys, hey, like really establish your base and really be in tune with what a 10% adjustment in nutrition, cardio, or weight intensity can do for you. Another example in the kind of the gym itself is, if I just had this kind of revelation last week, was okay, I'm making some good gains in legs and my workout, and I feel stronger, and my weight went up. Like, I threw an extra 10, 25-pound plate on for a squat, for a deadlift, and it was the same reps. That's great. But also, like with reps too, like I was doing like a pyramid in squats where I go 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, and then a drop set with lighter weight. So you're looking at, what's that? That's 7 or 8 sets, basically, where I added 1 rep every set with the same weight. 7 or 8 reps added in an entire workout at a relatively heavy weight, not super heavy, but one that it's really hard to do 10 reps at the end, 8 to 10 reps. So that's a good example of kind of tracking that progressive overload that comes in different forms. And when you merge that, when you mesh that overload in the gym with overload in, water, nutrition, cardio, whatever, kind of performance based overall and everything, I think kind of forcing your body to utilize more calories is a good goal, like a good conceptual goal to have in fitness. So that's part of what I'm referring to when I say establish a base, because the harder you work out, the more good calories you're going to need, and everything kind of falls into place. So once you kind of track everything. So I hope this helped. I hope it made sense. Look for my new product, my new program templates for diets and workouts. I'm getting a few new clients coming in, which is fantastic. So website's updated, so feel free to take a look at that, hybridlivingathletics.com. If you search Hybrid Living Athletics, 3 words, in Google, it's the first search that comes up. So take a look at that. Feel free to reach out. Hit me if you have any questions. Looking forward to speaking to you next time, guys. Take care. Bye.